So good afternoon to all. So from last few lectures, we are discussing unit number 4. We are seeing logic gates and standard logic expression forms, that how to represent Boolean expression in the form of SOP, that is sum of products, and POS, that is product of sums. So we have seen that already. Now we are discussing related to the logic expression realization and minimization using K-map. So we have to observe, we have to study the K-map for 4 variables, up to 4 variables. Okay. So starting from 2 variable, 3 variable, and then 4 variable. In your syllabus, up to 4 variables K-map is there. After that, we will see the adder circuit and subtractor circuit. Okay. So I will just quickly take a recap of what we have seen in the last session. So in the last session, we have seen how to reduce and map 2 variable Boolean expression, which is in the form of SOP form, sum of product form. So this one example will be good to revise whichever we have studied, whichever the points we have studied in the last unit, last session. Okay. So our example was we have to reduce the expression given by f equals to a bar b bar plus a bar b plus a b bar. So what was our aim? We want to reduce this expression given by this function. Okay, using K-map, of course. So now we have understood that this function is nothing but 2 variable function, because only 2 variables are there, a and b. So this thing you should this thing you should observe. Okay, so this is the first task. Then again, what you can observe is this particular function, it is in which form, means either it is in sum of product or product of sum. So it is the next thing which you need to observe. So by just mere observation, you can say that it is sum of products form. So this function is 2 variable function and it is in the sum of product form. So this information you should grasp from this expression. Okay. Now we will see, screen is not visible. Is it now? Screen is visible. Okay, visible. So now the next thing we have to do is we have to identify which min terms are present in this output expression or this function. Okay, so how to identify that? Since this is sum of product, then you have to understand that complement, whenever there is a complement, then the value associated with that variable will be 0. So if I observe this particular term, then this term can be written as 0 0, because both are complements. So 0 0 is nothing but zeroth min term, that is m0. Similarly, if I observe next term, then one is complement and next one is in uncomplemented form. So we have to write, in order to find out which is the min term, we have to write 0, 1, 0, 1. So 0, 1 is nothing but a decimal equivalent of 1. So hence this term will be m1, m suffix 1. Then next is AB. So AB are both in uncomplemented form, right? So you have to write 1 1. 1 1 is nothing but the decimal equivalent of 3. 1 1 is nothing but a binary equivalent of decimal 3, right? So in this way you have to identify the suffix of your min term by allotting 0 to the complement and 1 to the uncomplemented variable. Okay, is it fine? Now we have understood that in our function there are 3 min terms. How many total min terms possible for this function? How many total min terms should be there? So we understood that this is nothing but a 2 variable function. So total possible minterms will be 2 raised to power 2, that is 4, right? So now again we can represent it like this. This is nothing but the summation of all the minterms. So these minterms are nothing but 0, 1 and 3. Now you have to map this function on the K map. So for the two variable K map, the K map will be drawn like this. This is the representation for two variable K map. You can observe one variable is A and value associated with A's are 0 and 1. Similarly here B is here and value associated with B is 0 and 1, right? So now we have seen that each square is nothing but cell. So total 4 cells will be there in 2 variable K map. In 3 variable K map, 2 raised to power 3, that is 8 cells will be there. So now you can observe this 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. These values we have assigned to these particular cells and this value will be equal. आप जब भी टू वेरिएबल के लिए के मैप बनाओगे तब ये वैल्यूज will be the same. Why? Because you can observe, and from where you have decided these values, you can observe the value of A here for this cell is 0 and value of B is 0. So 0, 0 means 0. Then the value of A is 0 here for this cell and the value of B is 1 for this cell. So 0, 1 will be 1. Always remember A will be your MSB, that is most significant bit. मतलब आपको A की वैल्यू पहले लिखनी है उसके बाद में B की वैल्यू, right? You have to always remember A will be your MSB, most significant bit, right? So similarly for this cell also वैल्यू 2 कहाँ से आ गई 1 0, right? So similarly 1 1, that is 3. Now once you have decided that these are the minterms, then what you have to do, you have to map your output function on this K map. How will you map? So simply you have to observe the function one more time, and if in that function that minterm, whichever minterms are present, you have to put 1 there. In that cell you have to put 1. So you can observe M0 was present here, so 1, we have written 1 here. M1 was present, so hence 1. M3 was present, so hence 1. But M2 was missing, so hence we have written 0. आप एक तो 0 लिख सकते या फिर नहीं लिखा, यहाँ पे सिर्फ ब्लैंक भी रखा तो भी चलेगा, right? There is no problem. Either you write 0 here or you can left it blank also. बट 1 कहाँ पे जाएगा? अगर वो मिन टर्म आपके फंक्शन में प्रेजेंट है देन यू हैव टू राइट 1 ओनली. So this diagram represents the mapping. Now mapping is done. Now the next part is you have to simplify or you have to reduce your K map. Okay. So in order to simplify or in order to reduce the K map, what you have to do? You have to observe two adjacent ones, two adjacent cells. Now आप यहाँ पे देखो there are 3 ones. Out of these 3, these 2 are adjacent cells. What do you mean by adjacent cells? Adjacent cells may always remember only one variable should vary. Okay. So now let's for example अगर 0 के बारे में बोल दो तो इसका कोड क्या है 0 0 for code for this cell. Now here it is 0 1. So now you can observe that 0 is constant, one variable will be constant and only one variable should vary. यहाँ पे b की वैल्यू देखो, यहाँ पे 0, यहाँ पे 1. So if there is a variation in only one variable, then those two cells will be called as adjacent cells, right? Simple है. तो ऐसे adjacent cells कौन से हैं? अगर आप ऑब्जर्व करोगे तो M0 M2 है ना, 0 M0 M1 M1 M3 and M2 M3, all these are adjacent cells. बट आप अगर M0 और M3 देखोगे, so the code for M0 is 0 0, whereas code for M3 is 1 1. Now you can see that both variables are having different values, which is not acceptable. For two cells to be adjacent, only the value of one variable should be different. Okay, similarly अगर आप M1, okay, suppose आप M1 और M2 अगर आप देखोगे तो M1 का कोड क्या आएगा, बाइनरी 0 1, और M2 का 1 0. यहाँ पे भी both variables are varying. So M0 M3 are not adjacent cells. Similarly M1 M2 are not adjacent cells. ठीक है, so I hope you got this concept of adjacent cells. Those are very important because आपको combine कौन से सेल करना है, you have to combine only adjacent cells. Okay, so now 4 cells are there. So either आपके मैक्सिमम कॉम्बिनेशंस कौन से हो सकते, एक तो एक पेयर फॉर्म हो सकता है दो सेल का, either one pair will be formed of any two cells, right, जहाँ पे भी वन है सेल की वैल्यू. अब यहाँ पे in this case you can observe that one pair is this and second pair is this. So I have already shown here that when you combine two cells, two minterms M0 and M1, it is indicated by red color. तो ये रेड कलर का जो बॉक्स है, अगर वो आप कंबाइन करोगे तो what you will get. And why we do this combination? So when you do this combination, what happens? A different term. Okay, so common term will be as it is, और जो term different values है for that combination, you can observe for this red combination the value of B is varying. 0 है एक जगह पे और दूसरी जगह पे 1, but on the other hand the value of A is constant, that is 0. So due to this combination, what happens? One term will be eliminated. Which term? The term which is varying its value. Okay, so B will be eliminated and this combination can be written as A equals to 0. So if A equals to 0, that means whenever 0 is assigned to the value variable A, then that variable will be complementary form. Then that variable will be in complementary form. So hence the red pair will give you A bar, right? So always remember ये जो कॉम्बिनेशन आपको करने हैं ना, एक तो पेयर होगा, नहीं तो अभी अगर चारों अगर बन रहे थे यहाँ पे तो आपका एक क्वाड्रेंट बनता, क्वाड QUAD, है ना, चारों का आपका क्वाड बनता. अभी यहाँ तो फिलहाल क्वाड नहीं बन सकता. सो मैक्सिमम पॉसिबिलिटी क्या है, पेयर ही फॉर्म होगा. सो एक पेयर आपकी रेड पेयर के बाद अगेन वन वॉज रिमेनिंग. सो अगेन इस वन के साथ और इस वन के साथ अगेन वन पेयर फॉर्म होता है. ओके, so this blue color pair, if you observe this blue color combination, you can observe that for this blue color pair the value of B is constant and it is 1, but the value of A is varying from 0 to 1. So hence A will be eliminated and finally you will get B. Okay, so this is the reduced equation A bar plus B, and we have reduced this equation by using the K map. Initially our equation was like this and finally we reduced our equation by using K map and we got this reduced equation. So I hope you got this concept, and this example is related to the sum of product. So एक बात हमेशा ध्यान में रखना, द मेन डिफरेंस बिटवीन सम ऑफ प्रोडक्ट एंड प्रोडक्ट ऑफ सम इज, अब यहाँ पे ए बार का आपने जीरो लिया था, राइट? अब प्रोडक्ट ऑफ सम में क्या होगा, ए बार का आप वन लोगे. You have to take, whenever the complementary sign is there, then you have to take 1 in POS form. So just note these very minute changes because those will be very helpful. Okay, so this is about two variable Boolean function minimization using K-map, or two variable K-map we have seen. Now we will proceed. The next part is two variable K-map, and we are doing mapping of now POS expression, that is product of some expressions. Now you can observe this is the generalized K-map for product of some expressions. Okay, this representation is same. A is here, B, so two variables are present, so that's why maximum number of folds or maximum number of cells are 4, that is 2 raised to 2. 4 squares will be available in your K-map. Now again here also you have to write 0 1, then again 0 1. Now the representation will vary. In earlier case we were discussed, in earlier example we have discussed regarding SOP form. So for SOP form min terms were there. Now we are discussing POS form. So for POS form max term, these are max terms. And since it is POS form, you have to write the term will be in terms of now sum. पहले ये प्रोडक्ट की फॉर्म में थी ना, ए बार बी बार इक्वल्स टू स्मॉल एम सफिक्स जीरो था, ये सेल की वैल्यू, बट यहाँ पे अभी ए प्लस बी इक्वल्स टू एम जीरो. नाउ अगेन यू कैन ऑब्जर्व द बाइनरी कोड फॉर दिस सेल इज नाउ 0 0 because a is equals to 0 and b is also 0. So for 0 0, now you can observe what is the change. Initially we have assumed that whenever value assigned to variable is 0, I'm talking about SOP form. So whenever in SOP form, whenever the value assigned to the variable is 0, then you have to write complementary form. मतलब आपको a बार लिखना पड़ता था SOP में, but here you have to write uncomplimentary form. You have to write it in uncomplemented form. Okay, so this is very important difference and you should be aware of it. Okay, similarly you can observe all other cells are having the same logic. So here you can observe the value of this cell is 0 1. So 0 के लिए आपने uncomplimented form लिया and for 1 we have taken complementary form. So this max term becomes m1, this becomes m2, and likewise this becomes m3. Okay, are you following me? Is it understood? You should always study in comparative manner. POS और SOP साथ में पढ़ो. Observe the difference between SOP and POS, and then you will be able to understand what are the differences. Once you understand what are the differences, then it will be very easy for you to remember all things. And it is very easy actually. Once you understand this concept, it will be very easy for you. Okay, so I will just read few points here. Two variable has 2 raised to power 2, that is 4 squares. These squares are called as cells. We already knew that each square is nothing but one cell. Each square on the K-map represent unique max term. Okay, so since we are studying POS form, so this each square will be max term. The max term designation for the squares are shown in figure. So this figure, it is the generalized figure. Now again, this is important thing. A 0 is placed in any square indicates that corresponding max term is included in the output expression, and 1 or no entry in any square indicates that corresponding max term does not appear in the expression for output. Just now we have seen a example, that was SOP example of SOP form. And in that example we have seen that whenever suppose a mean term was present in your output expression, then what we have done, we have given 1 there. I will just go one slide back. Just observe this. So here m0, m1, m3, these were mean terms. So since these mean terms were present at the output expression, what we have done, we have written 1 here. But now what is the difference here? So you can observe, this is the example. So now you have to map this expression. You can observe this is expression in POS form. So in POS form, suppose in any term is present here, then you have to map by 0. You have to write 0. In SOP form, you had written 1 there. अगर एक आध टर्म आपकी आउटपुट में प्रेजेंट थी, right? If min term was present there, then we have written 1 in SOP form, but here we have written 0. Just observe this. Now here a plus b. Okay, so how will you find which is the max term present here? कोई बताएगा क्या a plus b मतलब कौन सी मैक्स टर्म होगी यहाँ पे? Which max term will be present associated with a plus b? Anyone? Now since it is POS, product of sum, you should remember that for a you have to write here 0. SOP में क्या होता था, a बार के लिए 0 था, बट यहाँ पे POS में you have to write 0 for uncomplimented variable. Similarly, b is also uncomplimented, so again you have to write 0 here. So now this max term will become 0, 0 means 0, that means m0. Similarly, let's say I have taken this, so complementary variable will be taken as 1. Again b is also complementary, so again 1. So this 1 1 is nothing but max term 3, and this intermediate one is max term 2. Okay, so a bar b, a bar b. Now what you have to do while mapping, so now we have understood that this is the product of these max terms. And how many max terms are present here? Out of 4, 3 max terms are present. And which are they? 0, 2, 3. Okay. Now you have to map these max terms on the 2 variable k map. While mapping, you should be remembering that this is, since this is POS expression, so आपको SOP के उल्टा करना है. उल्टा मतलब क्या? In SOP you have written 1, so in POS you have to write 0 for the terms which are present in the function. So since m0 is present, we have written 0, m2 is present, we have written 0, m3 is present, we have written 0. m1 is not present, so either you can write 1 here, or you can simply keep it blank. आप blank भी रख सकते हैं या फिर आप 1 भी लिख सकते हैं वहां पे 1. Okay, so this is how the mapping is done in case of POS. What are the differences? I will again tell you the differences between SOP and POS form. Okay, so first important difference was in SOP form, while determining the min terms. ये तो सबको पता है कि SOP में min terms होते हैं और POS में max terms. So while deciding which minterms were present, what we have done, we have taken, I'm talking about SOP now, okay. So in SOP we have taken, whenever there is a complement form of variable, we have taken the code as 0, and when there was uncomplemented form, then we have taken the code as 1, and then we have find out the different suffixes for min terms, right? And once you got the min terms, then what you have done, in k map you have written 1 there. जो भी min terms आपके आउटपुट एक्सप्रेशन में थे, वहां पे आपने वो min terms में, वो min term के सेल में जाके 1 पुट किया. It is regarding SOP. But now in POS, what are the differences? Just observe the differences. Here, in order to decide which max terms are present, what we have done, we have taken the complementary form as the code associated with complementary form will be 1, and code associated with uncomplemented form is 0, right? And if your max term is present in the output expression, then you have written 0 there in that cell. So I hope these differences are very now clear to you, and you should remember it throughout this unit. Okay, so just I will wait for a couple of minutes on this slide. Just go through it and just let me know whether you understood this concept, you understood the difference or not, because this is very important. Again, further 2 or 3 lectures will be depending on these basic concepts only. So just give me feedback whether you have understood it or not. Okay, so I got couple of responses. Then I got one query, means A bar and B bar is greater in POS. No, there is no nothing like greater and smaller here, but these are the just representations. Okay, so here just I have written A bar. That means अगर B bar भी होगा यहाँ पे तो भी आपको 0 ही लेना है SOP में. कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री, अगर आपको वेरिएबल के ऊपर बार दिखा, दैट मीन्स यू हैव टू टेक करस्पॉन्डिंग बाइनरी कोड एज 0 इन SOP, whereas in POS for complementary, that is जब आपके वेरिएबल के ऊपर बार है, then you have to take the value associated with it 1. Okay, is it clear? Okay, so that's why we are also discussing these SOP and POS simultaneously, so that you will be able to understand what are the differences. All right, so now since it is clear, we will see one example of, now we are in the POS expression only. Okay, we are discussing POS form, and in POS form now we are discussing two variable K map. You know, SOP two variable K map we have already seen. Now we will discuss POS with two variable K map. So again, we have seen how mapping is done. Okay, so this much part is clear to you. Now second is how to minimize. So always remember, first कौन सा भी फॉर्म रहे, फर्स्ट यू हैव टू मैप द min terms or max terms on the k map, and once you map the min terms and max terms, then second is you have to minimize the pos expression. So minimization is nothing but you have to then form a pair, दो अलग अलग पेयर फॉर्म करने हैं, राइट, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द वैल्यूज ऑफ जीरो और वंस. So since we are discussing the POS expression, we will concentrate on the values 0. Now we will observe how many zeros are present in our K-map and how many of them can be recombined. How many of them can be combined, and why we do this combination? Why we combine two cells? Because in the process of this combinations of two cells, we are eliminating one variable. दो सेल्स अगर आप कंबाइन करते हो तो एक वेरिएबल एलिमिनेट हो जाता है. So this elimination is nothing but the reduction, right? So this is the flow. I will just read these few points. We have already seen this actually in SOP, but again it will be better जितनी बार हो जाए, है ना, जितना आप ऑब्जर्व करोगे उतना अच्छा. So now to minimize the Boolean expression given in POS form by using K-map, we have to look for the adjacent squares having zeros. So this is important. What you have to observe? You have to observe adjacent cells which are having zeros, right? In SOP, we were observing the adjacent squares which are having ones. Okay, that is max term adjacent to each other and combine them to form a larger squares to eliminate the variables. ठीक है, आप देखोगे जीरो कहाँ कहाँ पे है, and if possible we will combine them in order to eliminate variables. Okay, two squares are said to be adjacent to each other if their max terms differ only by one variable. Again, same definition, we have already seen that. Two squares are said to be adjacent when their max terms differs in only one variable. For example, a two variable K map M0, in a two variable K map M0 and M1. So M0 is nothing but it can be written as A plus B, and M1 it can be written as A plus B bar, है ना. 0 0 M0 मतलब 0 0. In POS, value associated the variable, if it is having 0, then you have to write uncomplementary form, so hence A plus B. Here M1 is nothing but 0 1. So 0 stands for uncomplemented form, that is A, and 1 stands for complemented form. So now if you observe these two max terms, then you can observe that A is constant here, यहाँ पे भी A है, यहाँ पे भी A है, but the value of B is varying. Hence you can say that since only one variable is varying, you can say that these two cells are adjacent. Okay. Similarly, these max terms M0, M2, just observe quickly. Here B is present here also. Only one variable is varying, that is A. So again, M0 and M2 will be also adjacent cells. Similarly, M1, M3. Now in M1, M3, B bar is present to both. B bar is present here also, and in M3 also B bar is present. So which is the changing variable? A. Right. So again, only one variable is changing. So hence M1, M3 is also adjacent. Similarly, M2, M3 is also adjacent. However, you know, M0 and M3. Now if you observe M0 and M3, here these two terms if you observe, then you can see that A का A bar हो गया यहाँ पे और B का भी B bar. That means both the variables are changing. That means M0 and M3 are not adjacent cells. Why? Because in adjacent cells only one variable should vary. Always remember. अगर more than one variable vary होते, that means that will not be adjacent cells. और अगर adjacent cells नहीं है तो that means आप उसको combine नहीं कर सकते. You cannot combine these two cells. So always remember, in टू वेरिएबल के मैप M0 M3 या फिर M1 और M2 आप कंबाइन नहीं कर सकते, है ना। कहाँ पे होते हैं M0 M3 और M1 M2? तो अगर आपने ऐसा टू वेरिएबल के मैप अगर आपने निकाला, सो जनरली दिस विल बी योर 0, दिस विल बी योर 3। तो आप ऐसे कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं कर सकते। सिमिलरली आप क्रॉस कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं कर सकते, दिस विल बी 1, दिस विल बी 2। I hope you got this concept. You cannot combine these two cells 0 and 3 and 1 and 2. Other other cells can be combined. Other cells means ये जो भी आपको फिजिकली दिख रहे हैं ना एडजेसेंट, जैसे ये हो गया, ये दोनों हो गए, दिस सॉरी, okay, so which are the adjacent term pairs? This one, these two, then these two, then these two, then these two. So please repeat the third point. Okay, I will just repeat this one more time. So third point, okay, basically. So I hope these two are, you got these 2 points. So now third points are nothing but it is giving you the possible combinations of which cells you can combine and which cells you cannot combine. Okay, so now you can observe max term M0 is represented by A plus B, M2 is represented by A bar B. So these two max terms, if you observe, then the B is constant, one variable is constant, but A is changing, one variable is changing. So that means these two will be your adjacent cells. Similarly, these are different. This is another M1 and M3. So M1 is nothing but A plus B bar, M3 is nothing but A bar B bar. So you can observe B bar is present here also, here also. So one term is constant and A is changing. Here it was A and here it was A bar. So again, these are the pairs. M0, M2 are adjacent pairs. M1 and M3 are adjacent pairs. Similarly, M2 and M3 are adjacent pairs. Okay. Now, which two pairs are not adjacent? That these two, M0 and M3. Now, if you observe, M0 is nothing but A plus B. दोनों uncomplimentary form में. M3 is nothing but A bar plus B bar. Both are in complementary form. That means A is also varying. यहाँ पे A तो यहाँ पे A bar है. Here it is B, here it is B bar. Right? That means both variables are changing and hence these two cannot be adjacent cells. Why? Because adjacent cell means only one variable should change. Similarly, if you observe M1 and M2, then this A becomes A bar here and B bar becomes B here. Again, these two will never be adjacent cells. Okay. So just 2 by 2 वेरिएबल फंक्शन के लिए ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, मैं एक सिंपल पॉइंट बता देता हूँ. 2 वेरिएबल आपको अभी निकालने तो आ गया होगा. So whenever you will draw 2 variable K map, this is very simple. You have to just remember like this. You have to draw here one variable will be here A and second will be here B. Then you know the cells are 0, 1, 2, 3. Right? Now which two cells will be adjacent? तो simply ये दो है ना, these two and these two, these 4 pairs will be adjacent. This is the meaning of this complete slide. And which two are not adjacent cells? This cross 0 3 and 1 2. आप ये क्रॉस में कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं कर सकते. You cannot combine these two cells 0 3 or 1 2. You cannot combine them. Why? Because they are not adjacent, because both variables are varying. Is it clear? Okay. I've already forwarded this PPT to you. Just go through that. Uh, so from next lecture, we will move towards three variables and then four variables. So again, important thing is you should be clear until this point. What is POS? What is SOP? What is max term? What is min term? How to map POS expression on K-map? How to map SOP expression on K-map? These many things you should be aware of. Okay. Generally एग्जाम में टू वेरिएबल्स के मैप पे क्वेश्चन नहीं आते. The question will be always either three variable or four variable के मैप. But since this is basic, so I am taking this very slowly. Again कुछ confusion है तो you can ask me. But next lecture, that is कल तक एक make sure करो कि आप ये पूरा basic समझ सकते हो, and उसके बाद में आपको you will be able to understand the remaining lectures, that further lectures which we will be discussing. ठीक है. So two max terms which are adjacent to each other can be combined to form a bigger square. अगर आपने दो सेल combine किए तो that will be called as two square. But obvious नाम है ना ये two square. Why? Because you are combining two squares, so that's why two square एक नाम है. Or another name is pair. That means when you combine two cells, that combination will be called as a pair. So I will always call the combination of two cells as a pair. And whenever you do this combination, whenever you represent the two cells by a pair, then what does the pair does? What does the pair do? Pair actually eliminates one variable. दो में से एक वेरिएबल पेयर एलिमिनेट कर देगा. एंड विच वेरिएबल इट विल एलिमिनेट? द वन विच इज नॉट इन कॉमन. ओके. So it will be make more sense to you when we see the example related to this. So this much is theoretical part. Now we will see the example. Okay, so this is again possible max term groupings. It is already mentioned. That is in your two variable K map. These are the possible groupings you can do. These five. है ना? These two you can group. These two you can group. These two and these two. And again, if all four are zero, then you can group all four cells also. These four cells are nothing but quad. Okay. So now if you observe, suppose ऐसा आपका K map है. Now two zeros are there. You have to concentrate on zeros. Okay. Why? Because this is POS form. अगर SOP रहता तो you have to concentrate on ones. Since it is POS form, then you have to concentrate on zeros. So since two zeros are here and these two zeros are nothing but adjacent to each other, then you can combine them to form one pair. You can observe here, right? One pair. Now if you observe that for this combination, the value of A is constant, whereas the value of B is changing. That's why the variable B will be eliminated. And what will be the value associated this pair? It will be A equal to 0. That means A equal to simply A. Why? Because in SOP, whenever uncomplemented value is there, मतलब जहाँ पे वेरिएबल के ऊपर बार नहीं होता है, तो वो वैल्यू कैसी होती है आपकी 0. और बार अगर होगा वेरिएबल के ऊपर, दैट मीन्स दैट वैल्यू विल बी टेकन एज 1. ओके. तो आपको 0 पे कॉन्सेंट्रेट करना है. क्यों? जहाँ पे 1 है उसको आपको रिड्यूस नहीं करना है. वाई? बिकॉज इट इज POS. Similarly, this combinations you can verify. Okay, just अगर F3 अगर मैंने लिया तो you can observe that in F3 zeros are here. Again you have seen that these two cells are nothing but adjacent cells. So you have combined these two zeros, and for this combination you have observed that the value of A is varying. A is changing, the variable A is changing, 0, 1, but the value associated with B is constant and it is equals to 0. So hence the final value will be F3 equals to B, because B equal to 0 means POS mein it is uncomplemented form, right? So in this way you have to verify all these, and corresponding expression you can verify from these four lines also. By expanding these two, by multiplying these two terms also, you will get the same values, है ना. m0 m1 को अगर आप इसके हिसाब से अगर आप expand करोगे, you will be getting a here. Again similarly you got f1 equals to a here. Okay, so this is just for the verification. So you can either go with the algebraic laws and you will be able to understand only those same value we will get. तो इतना लॉजिक यूज करने से अच्छा है by just mere observation you can reduce this function actually. Okay, now again if here in f5 again four zeros are present, so since four zeros are present, what you can do, अब मैक्सिमम ग्रुपिंग कितनी कर सकती है जीरो की, चारों भी जीरो है, सो दैट मीन्स मैक्सिमम ग्रुपिंग विल बी फोर. तो आपने एक कंबाइन फोर स्क्वायर बनाया यहाँ पे, यू कैन ऑब्जर्व दैट इज कॉल्ड एज क्वाड, QUAD, quad. So whenever such quad will be present, now you can observe the value of A is also changing and value of B is also changing, है ना, constant कोई भी नहीं है. That means two variables will be eliminated, and what will be your expression? The F5 will be equal to 0, because both variables are changing. So जो कोई variable change होता है, that means that variable will be eliminated. Okay, so the same slide we have actually similar slide we have also discussed in SOP expression also, same. So always remember, in two variable K map these are the possible groupings, मतलब आपको इसमें से ही एक आध ग्रुपिंग करनी पड़ेगी पांच में से. Now we will just take a quick look on the numerical and then we will be done with the two variable K map. In the next lecture we will start with three variable K map. So again this is the example. So now you have to observe, you have to read first example, that reduce the expression. This is the expression given using K map. Okay, so you have to reduce this expression using K map. So what you have to do, first thing you have to observe that it is two variable function. So you have to draw two variable K map. सीधा two variable K map निकाल के रख दो. Okay, क्योंकि दो ही वेरिएबल यहाँ पे A और B, right? Then you have to observe that whether this is in SOP form or POS form. सम ऑफ प्रोडक्ट के फॉर्म में है या फिर प्रोडक्ट ऑफ सम्स के फॉर्म में है. You can observe that this is product of sums. Why? Because between two terms there is product and among the term there is sum. So this is POS form. Now you understood that it is two variable function and it is in POS form. Now since it is in POS form, max term आएगा कि min term आएगा? There will be max term. Right. So now you got the max term. So this is the representation for max term, capital M. Min term मतलब small m. Now you have to identify that which max terms are present here. How will you identify that? Since it is POS form, the uncomplimented value will be taken as uncomplimented value will be taken as 0. So this term will be 0 0. Okay, so 0 0 means nothing but first max term, no sorry, zeroth max term, that is m0. Then moving to the next term, then again this is uncomplimentary variable, this is complementary variable, so you have to take 0 1. So 0 1 is nothing but equivalent to 1, that means m1. Similarly, both are complementary, then you have to take 1 1. 1 1 is nothing but 3, so m3. This it is written as the product of, this pi is nothing but it is product of, एसओपी में क्या था, समेशन ऑफ था ना, ऐसा साइन. So this pi is nothing but a product of these many max terms, that is 0 1 3. Now you understood that in your output expression you have three max terms, and those three max terms are 0 1 and 3. Now you have to draw this, you can draw this, right? Two variable k map, it is very simple. Now you have to put 0 where, for each cell where the max term is present. So you can observe here it is m0, m1, m2 and m3. So since output function में m0 present है क्या है, so you have to put 0 here. m1 present है, you have to again put 0. m2 is not present, so either you can kept it blank or you can write 1. m3 is also present, so again you have to write 0. Okay, so now ये हो गया mapping. Now once you are done with the mapping, then you have to now minimize. So in order to minimize, you have to make the groupings. So now you understood that these two are adjacent, so you can combine them. Again these two are also adjacent, then you can combine them. ठीक है, ये मैटर नहीं करता है कि अगर ये सेल, नाउ यू कैन ऑब्जर्व इन दिस टू ग्रुपिंग्स दिस सेल इज गेटिंग रिपीटेड, बट इट्स ऑल राइट. ओके, आपको क्या करना है, मैक्सिमम जीरो कवर होने चाहिए. अगर ये जीरो आपने, ये सपोज यू हैव नॉट टेकन अ ब्लू पेयरिंग अगर आप नहीं करते तो ये जीरो अकेला ही रह जाता ना यहाँ पे, एंड दैट जीरो विल बी डिनोटेड एज ए बार एंड हियर इट विल बी बी बार. तो अकेला ही रह जाता है. तो ये सेल का रिप्रेजेंटेशन कैसे होता, सपोज ब्लू पेयर यहाँ पे है नहीं, है ना, तो एक ही पेयर अगर आपने फॉर्म की, जस्ट आई विल जस्ट note that thing. What I am trying to say is, suppose we have made only one pair here and you have left this 0, है ना. अगर आपने 0 ऐसे ही रख दिया रहता तो आपका आउटपुट एक्सप्रेशन क्या आता, तो a यहाँ पे 0 है, दैट मीन्स योर आउटपुट एक्सप्रेशन विल बी a, a की वैल्यू 0 है, सो दैट्स वाई a एज इट इज. और इस 0 का आपका b की भी वैल्यू है और a की भी वैल्यू है, तो आपका क्या आता है ब्रैकेट में, इस 0 के लिए a बार प्लस b बार, अगर आप ब्लू पेयरिंग नहीं करते तो. और अगर आप ब्लू पेयरिंग करोगे तो आपको क्या मिलेगा, आउटपुट एक्सप्रेशन a डॉट b बार, है ना. तो ऑलवेज गो फॉर द पेयरिंग, जहाँ पे भी पेयर हो रहा है तो आप पेयरिंग करो. ओके, आई गॉट वन queries, f1 f2, how to find out f1 f2, that is f1 f2, we're talking about earlier slide, right? So this f1 f2 is nothing but, oh, that's what I am trying to tell you, that सपोज यहाँ पे 0 0 है, आई एम डिस्कसिंग F1. Okay, suppose now 0 0 is present here. So since it is POS form, you have to group zeros. So now if I group these two zeros, right, then values associated with it is constant. A is constant for both cells. A की वैल्यू जीरो है ना दोनों सेल के लिए, बट बी की वैल्यू क्या हो रही है, चेंज हो रही है. तो बी एलिमिनेट हो जाएगा, है ना, सिर्फ रहेगा ए. तो ए की वैल्यू है जीरो. A की वैल्यू जीरो इज नथिंग बट इट विल बी अनकॉम्प्लीमेंटेड फॉर्म. इट विल बी इन अनकॉम्प्लीमेंटेड फॉर्म. पीओएस है इसलिए. अगर एसओपी फॉर्म रहता और ए की वैल्यू जीरो रहती तो आपने ए बार लिया रहता. यू हैव टू जस्ट कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन zeros in POS form. Don't worry about 1 1. Just go through this PPT one more time, and if you don't understand these slides, then it is fine. Means don't bother about it. This is just for the additional purpose. अगर आपको नहीं समझ में आ रहा है या फिर ये इसमें कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है तो ये स्किप कर दो सीधा सीधा. We will try to focus, we will try to solve more problems on the minimization itself. So don't worry about it. जैसे जैसे आप प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करते जाओगे आपको समझ में आ जाएगा पैटर्न क्या है. ओके, जस्ट गो थ्रू इट. अगर समझ में आया तो वेल एंड गुड. इफ़ यू आर कीन टू अंडरस्टैंड इट देन यू कैन आस्क मी. और अगर नहीं समझ में आ रहा है तो जस्ट यू कैन स्किप इट. I will tell you what are the steps you need to follow in order to do the minimization. Okay, so that's it for the today. I will conclude this session here. Those who are having, suppose if you are having any problem, then you can ask me. Otherwise, you can leave the meeting. So thank you.